Hello, friends. So happy to have you here with me today at Radical Joy. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, we're glad you're here. Each Wednesday, I'm here with you talking about things that weigh on my mind and heart, hoping if you're dealing with something similar, we can adjust our perspectives as you listen. The more people I meet and the more places I go, the more I realize how important it is to make people aware of the fact that there is no shame in enjoying the parts of your life that are incredible. It's time for some radical joy, and this week the three fingers pointing back at me are for misery. Now, we've heard that adage before, right? Misery loves company. Great. You know what else goes along with company? Joy. Because though misery may love company, I think joy is more fun to be around. These kind of things come to my mind whenever I am out and about in the world. I try to keep my mouth shut more frequently now than I have when I was growing up, whenever I was a little bit younger man. Not to say that I'm a quiet individual by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think I want to lead anybody down that path and mislead them for sure. I try to be more observant. I try to be more quiet. I try to be more focused on what's happening around me, how people are reacting to what's going on around them, to what part I play in the system now that I'm on the scene, those kinds of things. It sounds a little egotistical, but it's not anything like that. It's just, how did I change the dynamic by entering? And things that continue to impress upon me whenever I really put on my observation glasses and start looking around at what's going on is that there are a lot of people out there, I think, that take pride in being miserable. It's not a judgment thing. Please don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying with this. What I am saying is that what I am observing through as little biases or prejudice as I can manage is that a lot of people find that misery is a very easy way to make a connection with someone. It is definitely a quick route to make a connection with someone, to go ahead and make that sort of bridge across anonymity. Case in point, I had a really difficult time going through a San Francisco airport not long ago. My layover to get me from Tokyo back to Las Vegas was in San Francisco. It was 9 a.m. on the 23rd of December, and it was absolutely bonkers. And I mean, this place was ape. Even the line to get through TSA pre-check and clear were a 20 to 30-minute wait. And it was already kind of tight. Like, the layover was very quick. I took a picture of me amongst this giant crowd waiting to get through the clear line, and I put it on my social media, and I had a friend that said, "Well, that's modern travel for you these days." And yes, there are a lot of things that will happen in travel these days, especially in flight travel, that are going to be difficult. They're going to be obstacles. It's going to be a little trying for your patience. That's just how that goes whenever you deal with the public, and especially whenever you deal with transportation, especially transportation around the holidays. Sure. I didn't love the tone of the statement, I'll be honest. And I came back with, well, no, I don't think this is typical for travel in this day and age. I think this is probably pretty. I was expecting something similar to this, traveling this close to Christmas in such a high traffic airport. It was just one of those things where I didn't think about it until I was in the thick of it. And now I had no choice but to think about it. And the first thing that popped up was someone ready to make a generalization and an assumption in a negative direction, thinking that I would just jump on board. I'm like, wait, no, wait, whoa, 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 no. One of the things that I love to put on a lot of my social media is the hashtag travel mojo. Because it seems like even if we do hit an unexpected obstacle, we work our way through it with significant success, with aplomb, with great attitude, with an excellent perspective on why things happen the way that they did. And I've noticed a trend that a lot of people love to be just a little bit more, well, it's easier to congregate when we're bitching about something than it is to come together and talk about something that we love. I think that people find a kernel of authenticity and sincerity in whining or complaining about something that they don't necessarily feel they have the same right to claim when they talk about the good things that are happening. Look at that incredible sunset. Oh my gosh, that is the biggest rainbow I've ever seen. Look at that. There are two of them. Do you know how long it's been since I've seen something like that? That smacks of an inauthenticity, a little bit of a lack of genuineness, I think, in a lot of people's perspective, which is why it seems so much more real whenever you try to relate to someone in a quote unquote bad situation. And I don't love that. I don't. Again, I'm not here to harsh anybody's business. I think that's a habit that we have all been conditioned to have, if I'm honest. I think that there are a lot of powers that be that would rather us be just a little bit dissatisfied so that we go out and buy stuff to make ourselves feel better, to line the pockets of the fat cats. Here I am getting all conspiracy theorist, but I've been around long enough to know that in a lot of cases that's exactly what's going on. There are industries built on that idea. What I want to do is try to flip that situation. The misery loves company, yes, because nobody likes to be miserable alone. Also, when you're miserable, it's not always preferable that you're around Pollyanna who's got sunshine and rainbows shooting out her toenails. That's not enjoyable because sometimes you just want to be mad and you don't want somebody to try to pull you out of it. I get that. I've been there. Whenever I'm in a particularly foul temper, I don't like to be around anybody. I don't want people seeing me when I'm having a bad day. I don't want people seeing me whenever it's really difficult for me to get myself out of bed and get on with the day. It happens more frequently than I'd like to admit, but I do. I get out of bed. I do the things. I get up perpendicular to the ground. I make the bed. I brew the coffee. I do the things. I write in the journal. I study the language. I pick up the heavy things. I do the work, and it pays. And that's what it is. Are these things choices? Yes, every single one of them. Choices. They're building blocks. They're steps in a direction I want to go to meet the destination I want to meet. I can choose to find my company in the miserable or in the joyful. And honestly, I think that to be a well-balanced person, you need a little bit of both. I would definitely prefer to carry more joy with me than misery. I also think that realistically speaking, that misery is going to be something that I will encounter more frequently. Just because I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, have assigned more cool points to be in misery, miserable, or angry, or dissatisfied, or any number of things, instead of just looking at what they have going on and be like, I can work with this. I can work with this. This wonderful acronym I heard this afternoon. I'm in the gym and I listen to a lot of either podcasts or TikToks or whatever while I'm working out. It's just a good way for me to focus. I love my music, but I think it's the verbal stuff that usually works better with me in the gym. And there was a gentleman on there talking about FITFO, and it stands for figure it the fuck out. And I loved that. I was like, wow. We want to know everything there is to know about something before we get started many times. If you, for whatever reason, if we can't get every single tiny minute detail about everything on something new we want to try, we will absolutely turn our nose up at it. We will kick the kitty litter on top of it and we will walk away with it, and we'll probably feel pretty good about the whole thing because we just narrowly escaped the latest scam or problem or whatever. And now I'm going to go back to everything that I think I know, which is hilarious too, because there's always something to learn about everything and anything that we're doing. But it was interesting to listen to this guy talk. He was talking about how when he was in a fraternity and he was a pledge in the fraternity, one of the brothers told him that he wanted a specific bathrobe. And they're like, well, where the heck are we supposed to find that? We can't, da, da, da. And the guy's like, FITFO. And so the guys got together, they took on the task, and then they figured it out. It's like, figure out the task, start the work, and when things hit a wall, well, do we dig around it? Do we dig through it? Do we jump over it? How do we figure this out? And I love that. Y'all pardon me that I'm a little bit hesitant to say that all the way out loud. I don't know what the rules are on this platform. I don't know who's listening that might get turned off for the fact that I dropped a four-letter word like that, here on this platform. You know where I'm going with it. I've got a T-shirt that says FAFO, around and find out. I don't wear that T-shirt often for the exact same reason, but I can't help feeling as though a lot of people have completely overlooked the F around part in the respect of getting something productive done. Now, there's a lot of folks out there who are ready to F around in the misery part or being the problem or being the obstacle. And to them, I would offer a kind cautionary. The find out portion of that program is rarely optional. Is that a thinly veiled threat, James? No, it's not. It is an expectation of outcome that I think that everyone should be prepared for if the F around of their program is more the problem than it is an attempt at a solution. And I think that is a very similar idea whenever we talk about misery or joy, and which one you'd prefer to keep company with. Because misery loves company, but what does company love? I've been to parties. I've been to dinners. I've been lucky enough to be invited to people's homes. Now, here's my question. Which guest is talked about more favorably while dishes are being done? Is it the wet blanket that could not be satisfied or appeased? Is it the person who finds delight in similar topics with the other guests around the table? Is it the person who's easy to laugh? Is it the person who's easy to find something interesting in the quiet guest at the table? Or is it the person who's always finding fault with where they tried this before and how it was better in the other place? Ugh. We've all seen this person, and that's just who that person is. That's part of their personality. And I'm hoping that if the rest of us can be a little bit brighter, and I'm not saying it's your responsibility, I'm just saying that it helps me. If I can shine just a little bit brighter, just a little. I mean, seriously, like not even a full percentage point. We're talking like a 0.2. That eventually they'll feel that warmth and they'll start to see the reaction that everyone else has to it. And it'll start to pull them over to that side a little bit more. Okay, every friend group has an ER. Okay, I get that. I absolutely do. There's a difference in being the person who is still happy to be there, though they don't shine as brightly, versus someone who doesn't want to be there, who insists on being the gravity that pulls the rest of the party down closer to the planet whenever we were getting a pretty good orbit going. Does that make some sense? Do we know who this person is? Are we that person? Occasionally, I will absolutely fall into that person. I will. I can't say a word about it except, yeah, every once in a while, that's going to be me. The good news is I have a lot of people around me that will see that almost immediately. And they never come across judgy. They never come across harsh. What they do is they will ask me almost immediately. And the thing I love about so many of my friends is that it won't always come from the same source. It's almost like they've got a round robin schedule somewhere where whenever I'm starting to get a little glum, somebody just kind of pops into my private messages. They hit me with the DMs like, hey, what's shaking, Bacon? You okay over there? Haven't heard from you in a minute. Haven't seen you naked on your socials. Haven't heard from you. Is everything okay? How wonderful is that? That people will check in on you, and for whatever reason, they now have a rotation of sorts because nobody wants to be the nag friend either. Are you okay? Are you sure? 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 How annoying is that? I wasn't pissed before, but if you continue to press this button, I'm going to get so incredibly agitated, you're going to wish for pissed. Because I'm just going to be aggressive and tell you to get the hell off me because I was fine and now I'm irritated because you wouldn't leave well enough alone. Fair. I don't apologize for it. If somebody's not going to believe me on the first go, that's going to be their consequence to deal with. Hear me when I say it. I'm going to be real clear when I say it. This is not me trying to be a martyr. It's not me trying to be brave. It's me trying to say, I am fine, though you continue to push, and it is making me less fine by the moment. I'm not miserable. I want to be joyful. I also want to keep joy as my company. I want that person, those people in my tribe. I want them to be successful. I want them to be driven. I want them to be smart and funny and kind, caring. I want them to be nurturing to the people in their surroundings. I want my group of people to be the people who do something that is so wonderful on occasion that I'm going to have to fish my hanky out of my pocket and dab at my eyes. Because even though I know they are exceptional examples of humanity, I want them to even take me by surprise sometimes. And the things that they do and their humanity sharing is so obvious, is so overwhelmingly positive and warming that it wells up the emotion in me that it pours out my eyelids and that I have to just take a moment because I've chosen well. Because my tribe, the people around me are so good. They're so good. Not that they have to be all the time. They don't. That's not it. A lot of times, whenever you're handling your business, you'll come across as brusque, as abrupt. Great. That means you're handling your stuff and you ain't got no time for pleasantries. Okay. Fair. I would love a heads up if that's what's going on. If I can't read it from being your friend and knowing you that well, I would love a little bit of a hey, this is what's going on right now. So if you've noticed a change in the energy in the room and how much money or how much time, effort, or resource I can put towards our friendship, right now I'm being asked for a lot more in this specific realm, and I have to give that. I see this. I'm coming back to this. This needs more of my attention now. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Yes, please. That. Go do your thing. Thank you for telling me. What a wonderful courtesy. Do the thing because we are friends because of your high level of success and achievement in whatever field that may be. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be some kind of like big wheel corporate cheese. Your definition of success is defined by you. And whenever you continue to achieve, overcome, and amass all of these accolades, that is the energy I want to be around. That is the company I want to keep. Misery may love company. That's not the company I want to keep. We all go through it. I'm not saying you have to have every single day being a Mary Poppins. That's not at all what I'm saying. Even Mary Poppins had rough days. Now that I think about it, I was like, yeah, she went through some stuff. She had to put up with endless nonsense from that Bert person. Okay. Got it. Yes, yes, yes. And also, there was another side of that is always up for whatever. Yes, and yes, please. Let's do more. Well, of course we can. There's something so incredibly empowering about having a friend in your corner or a friend to follow that will always have that sort of energy about them. That's so great. Sometimes you got to drag them a little bit. If you're the one that's the joyful and somebody else is the misery, it's okay. Let them have their moment. That's what I think. Everybody is entitled to bad days. Everybody's entitled to feel downtrodden, overwhelmed, any number of things that have a little bit of a darker connotation or swirl of emotion around them. Awesome. What that also needs to be is a force behind whatever is going to the bottom of the barrel so that once it reaches rock bottom, it has the potential to bounce back up. Okay. Not that we need to necessarily hit rock bottom. I think a lot of times we've got enough buoyancy that we'll get under for a while. And then our natural buoyancy will bring us back to the top and we'll pop out and we'll be the same people that, just sort of like float along and ride the wave or the whether it's the crest or the trough, we're here for the whole wave. And I love that. Misery is one of those things where if you don't watch it, it can get bigger. It can grow really quickly. It can get very heavy very fast. And sometimes it's hard to get out from under that burden whenever it gets so big so quickly because we insist on carrying it at least a part of the way because it's not our burden to give someone else. And sometimes the thought of putting it down also seems irresponsible. So what we have to do is focus on overcoming it, on carrying it a respectable amount of distance so that we haven't shirked our responsibility to make sure we keep an eye on its width and weight and length and height and make sure that it doesn't get so big that we can't get out from under it. It's a precarious balance to strike. I will absolutely give us all that, okay? It's also one of those things where I'm just like, enough, enough. I have given enough of my time, my energy, my love to this. And it continues to get heavier and it continues to get darker and it continues to get colder. So, what I would like to do now is to thank this for the workout, put it down, and start skipping back down along the path to the journey that I was on before this thing got to be a burden. Misery loves company. Joy is the company I want to keep because I'm the company, and what I love is what I want to keep around. I also want to be, example sounds not great. What I'd love to do is just live my life so that I'm happy, and the joy that I find in living my life, other people can see. They can feel it, they can glean from it if they want. It's just entirely up to them. More than anything else, what I want to do is see past the cool quotient of all of this kind of stuff to realize that a lot of times that doesn't serve me personally. Like some people love to be the cool kids, and that's great. I get that. I am too old and too tired. I just don't mind it anymore. Like I get it. There are things I would love to have the newest iPhone or the coolest car, the nicest clothes, or be in amazing shape, all those kind of things. And I work towards all of those things because there are certain bumps that feel amazing whenever you get them. Like I love dressing nicely. I love being in great shape. I love walking around on the beach or the pool or whatever and feeling like the sun on my skin is just like soaking in the power, man. Like I'm tough to beat. I love that feeling. Sometimes it's the truth through my own eyes, and sometimes it's the like objective truth. And I love both of those things. I choose joy because I feel better. I feel as though I can power through more. I feel as though that fuel burns cleaner and pushes me farther than the misery. Sometimes I'm gonna be a burden to my friends. That's part of the social contract we made when we became friends. Some problems I have are for different groups of friends. When I have a very specific problem in one area of my life, okay, this one goes to her. When I have a problem in this area of my life, okay, I'm going to have a heart to heart with him about this because I know he'll understand where I'm coming from. There are other friends who are just there for the good stuff. They're there for the ego stroke, and that's great too. That's part of it. They continue to be high achievers. They move, shake, rattle, hum, and they love sharing it with you, not to brag, maybe a little, but mostly just because you're the person they share that with. And everybody needs one of those because sometimes you'll start to miss that interaction with that person. Like, well, I guess I should probably go out there and burn down the mountain because I need to tell something good to this person in my life who is my accomplishment friend, who I share these things with because they know that I'm not bragging. I just need to tell somebody so that I can share this. It's always great to share it. It really is. Whether good, bad, indifferent, ugly, embarrassing, any of it. It's so nice to include someone else in the story. Company, sharing, joy, accomplishment, sharing a burden, sharing a misery. Sometimes it is too heavy to carry alone. If you try to carry it by yourself, the next thing you know, you're going to wind up hip deep in the water. And because your pockets are full of stones of misery, you will continue to sink. Release those stones into the water. If you can't dig into your pockets deeply enough on your own, find someone else who can help you. Misery loves company because misery is lonely. And whenever you finish with the misery, hopefully the same company will be there to experience the joy in the absence of misery, the lightness, the delicious lightness of not having to carry that burden any longer, of acknowledging the fact that a lot of our misery is self inflicted. I think a lot of the things in our lives that bring us the least amount of joy and the most amount of burden are things we do to ourselves. 99 times out of 100, so few people give two hoots about anything that we're doing unless it directly impacts them, their life, their income, their loved ones. If it's just you doing you, I cannot even begin to tell you how little others will care. And if they do, the chances are good that they just need something of their own to focus on. And if they can't find that, well, they'll look elsewhere. It happens a lot. People look inward and for whatever reason they have a difficult moment. They don't love what they see. They don't feel accomplished or they don't feel as though they are loved in the way that they feel they need it. I think that often turns people looking to the outside to find faults with others instead of working in their own backyard to be better. If that crosses a line, I would love for you to ask yourself why that's so upsetting. Why, of all of the things that have been said today, is that the thing that upsets me? Oh, maybe it's because that described me a little bit and I don't love that. I would like to be more focused on my joy. I would like to put that happiness, that glowing, beautiful, what is the warm center that life loves to crowd around. I would love to keep that in the middle of me. So whenever I turn to look inward, I can see that and be proud of it and want to cultivate more of it to make sure that I can continue to feed that fire inside so it becomes brighter, becomes warmer. Let the light I shine either warm people to the core or burn them to a crisp. It's entirely their choice. I want to live strongly for me to make sure that I am taking care of me so that I stay happy, so that the light that I shine can make sure that other people know some people need permission. As crazy as that is to think, some people need permission to be happy. I don't deserve it. I have not done enough to warrant. I feel as though others are better and more deserving. Do these things sound familiar? Do any of these things sound like something that you don't like telling others? This is like that super quiet voice that only you can hear. And sometimes you'll even look around to see if anybody else could hear it because you were talking to yourself. And then I want you to answer yes. I'm worthy of love. I am deserving of accomplishment and accolade and praise. There are things I do that no one else can do exactly the same way or as well. And I'm just going to have to live in that truth until I own it, accept it, and grow into it. Misery loves company. Joy draws company. People want that. And it's funny. I think about this, relatively often. I think a lot of people find osmosis to be a very effective tool. They say, be around the people that you want to be more like. Keep people close to you who already achieved the successes you want for your own life. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think the more time that you spend with people who have already cracked the code or just always lived like that for whatever reason due to raising or just perspective or just nature, keep those people close because the more time you spend with them, the more that integrates into your personality and your perspective. And the more easily we can access that joy, the more readily it's there whenever we start fighting with the misery and the burden of the things in our lives that don't go exactly as planned. Great. Let me flip this. Let me change my perspective so I can look at this just a little bit more closely with a lens of joy to look through while I'm assessing the situation. Oh, yeah. And for a time, it'll feel like you need tools. It'll feel as though it's a little bit artificial, a little stilted. That's okay. We have been conditioned to go for the negative for so often that now that feels like nature. Breaking that cycle is going to feel very uncomfortable for a time. And then it will become exactly what it is that you hoped it would be. Oh, I'm looking at this the way that I've always wanted to now. No, it didn't go as expected. Yes, this is still fantastic. Just not what I had in mind. Great. No use crying over what isn't. Let's instead laugh about what is and can. I love the time that we get to spend with each other. I do. It makes me so happy to sit in front of this microphone underneath this bright light and just talk at you for half an hour or however long we're together. If this is your first episode, we are so happy you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. I think this is a fun episode to start. If this is not your first episode, welcome back. We are thrilled to have repeat listeners. I'm so glad you're here. If I know you personally, thank you for being here. You're a blessing and your support means the world. If you're not someone I know personally, that is an even more wonderful compliment because you're just listening to what's going on here and you just keep showing up. Thank you. Thank you kindly. I hope that you're getting something out of this. I hope this is a discussion. I hope this feels like a conversation. I hope that there are things that I say in here that you either agree or disagree with so vehemently that you're talking back to your technology and saying, yes, oh my God, yeah, that's a great way to think about that. Or, oh my gosh, I could never figure out how to put that into words before. I'm so happy that I'm listening. If that's the case, thank you so much. I love hearing it. If you're a review person, if you're someone who loves to review things for Yelp or for whatever platform, TripAdvisor, whatnot, there are reviews on the platform where you're listening to this podcast right now. If you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Take a screenshot of that, send it to us. We've got our contact information in all the show notes. Make sure we know that you left us a 5-star review. We'll be happy to send you a sticker. It's got my face on it, me enjoying a cup of coffee on a really hot pink background. You can put it on your water bottle, on your journal, because we love a journal around here. You can put it on your computer, wherever you want to stick it. We'd love to send you one so you can stick it. As always, it's a pleasure to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please, please, please never forget, we love y'all.
The bottom line is, use your words, friends. Thank you for joining us again in this moment of radical joy. If this is your first time, we're so happy you're here. Take a moment to check out our archive. See if there's something else that fires you up, rekindles the joy in you. And hey, spread the word if you enjoyed it. We welcome reviews and messages. Let me know what you want to talk about. I rarely run out of things to say. So if there's something on your mind or heart, I want to hear from you. Don't forget, there is no shame in joy. I am not a therapist or a medical professional. If you're experiencing a mental health emergency, please call 911. This content and other content produced by CLW Studios and affiliated partners is not therapy, and nothing in this content indicates a therapeutic relationship. Any opinions of guests on this podcast are their own and do not represent the opinions of James or CLW Studios. Please consult with your therapist or seek one in your area if you're experiencing mental health symptoms. Anything in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Learn more about James and CLW Studios. Follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to leave a review, and hey, we'll send you a sticker. Just send a screenshot and let us know where you want it sent. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday for another dose of radical joy. Love y'all.